Time is now 5:31 p.m. We'll now call the regular public meeting of the Board of Trustees of Humboldt IS Independent School District to order. First order of business. Closed session of the board will now be held on matters contained in the notice for this meeting. Should the board determine that any final action, final decision, or final vote be required with regard to any matter considered in such closed session, then such final action, final decision, or final vote will be made upon reconvening of this public meeting in open session. The time is 5:32 p.m. Time is now 7:04 p.m. Thank you for joining us tonight. Reminder that the meetings of the board are open to the public, but are not a meeting of the public. Humboldt ISD Board of Trustees meet monthly in a regular meeting to receive reports and from staff and take action from recommendations of the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation several days in advance of the regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions in advance of the regular meeting. Therefore, lengthy discussions are not always necessary on every agenda item, but as a board, we do have the appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of the meeting tonight. Please remember there are students and other guests present. To maintain decorum, respectful behavior is expected. Disruptive behavior and/or comments will not be allowed. And with that, our first item is our Pledge of Allegiance and our honor guard. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, please remain standing and join me in prayer. Thank you. Okay, moving to our next item on the agenda. Commendations and recognitions. Dr. Fagan, can you please introduce Inspiring Moments?
I would love to. Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you here tonight. You will not believe this, but kindergarten registration for next year is now open. Tonight's Inspiring Moment provides some advice from our current kindergarten students.
Hi there, friends. My name's Jill. Guess what? I'm a kindergartner from Fall Creek Elementary. Kindergarten's like a big adventure with fun and learning. And here's my awesome teacher, Miss Edson.
Hi everyone, I'm Kristen Edson and I am so excited to tell you about everything that's waiting for you here in kindergarten. Throughout the year, you're gonna learn some pretty amazing things like reading and writing, math, science, and social studies, and that's not all. We also have some pretty special classes like music, art, and even tech lab.
Woohoo! Don't forget recess and snacks. My friends and I want to give you 10 tips to get you ready for kindergarten. Tip number 1, kindergarten is hard work, so get a good night's sleep. Make sure you remember, no napping in class. Sweet dreams. Tip Tip number 2, don't forget to eat a good breakfast to fuel your brain. Tip number 3, school starts at 7:55 a.m. Don't forget to put your name on your lunchbox and your pack so you don't lose them. Trust me, I know. Hey, I think that's Adrian's lunchbox. How did he lose his lunchbox? He should have put his name on it. Tip number 5, practice tying your shoes and always wear tennis shoes for PE day. Tip number 6, sailing is caring. Always be kind and sail with your friends. Can I have a turn, please? Sure. See, it's not easy. Tip number 7, practice opening snacks. That's right, we get snacks in kindergarten. I told you, it does not know how to open snacks. Be sure to follow all the classroom rules. They keep us safe, especially this one here. Listen when the teacher is talking. Tip number 9, if you're absent, make sure to bring a note when you come back. Tip number 10, the school day ends at 3:20. See ya tomorrow.
And by the end of the year, you're going to be writing your name, reading, tying your shoes, working really well with others, and getting ready for first grade. Come join us for the adventure in Humboldt ISD. Register for kindergarten. We can't wait to welcome you to our kindergarten family.
Kindergarten registration for the 2024-2025 school year is now open. Register your little one for kindergarten today by visiting humbleisd.net/enrollment.
See you later. I'm off to first grade.
Those are some great tips. Our elementary schools look forward to welcoming new families at their kindergarten roundups, which begin this month in Humboldt ISD. So we're excited to have our new kindergartners enrolled for next year. Next, I'm proud to report that 19 Humboldt ISD Orchestra, choir, and band members were named to All-State by the Texas Music Educators Association. Dustin Winson, Humboldt ISD Assistant Director of Fine Arts, is here to tell us more about these students and their accomplishments.
Good evening. Thank you for being here tonight. On Saturday, February 10th, Humboldt ISD band, choir, and orchestra students representing Atascocita, Humboldt, Kingwood Park, and Summer Creek High Schools performed as members of the Texas Music Educators Association All-State Band, Choir, and Orchestra. Being named a member of the TMEA All-State Performing Ensembles is the highest individual honor a high school musician can achieve. Students are selected through a rigorous multi-level audition process that runs from September through January and starts with over 70,000 entries. Students begin the process as early as July, working to perfect multiple musical selections before beginning the grueling audition process. The performers must make their way through the all-district, all-region, and all-area auditions to finally be selected to perform as a member of the Texas Music Educators Association All-State Band, Choir, or Orchestra. All-state musicians represent the top 1% of their instrument or voice in the state of Texas. At this time, I'd like to represent our students who achieved that honor this year. We'll be starting right here with the first row. Representing Atascocita High School Band is French hornist and second-year All-Stater Jacob Casilio. Come on up. And trumpet player Evan Salas. Also representing Atascocita High School was trumpet player Rylan Nunez, but he was unable to attend due to a National Honor Society induction. Directors from Atascocita Band are Brian Best, Anthony Hicks, and Haley Cook. Next up is Humboldt High School Band, trumpet player and second-year TMEA All-Stater Andres Herrera. His directors are Lisa Brown and Doug Mackey. Next up, representing the Kingwood High School Band is bassoonist Patrick Gia. Directors are Tyler Morrison, Hannah Scott, and Juan Guardiola. Next up, Kingwood Park High School Band, flute player Alexandra Linares. And euphonium player Holden Spears. Directors at Kingwood Park are Bree Osborne and Aaron Irvin. Next up is the Atascocita High School Choir, second year Team EA All-State Choir bass Zoe Ochterman. And soprano Daniela Delgado. Directors are Samantha Nalundison and Nick Zoki. Next up, representing the Summer Creek High School Choir is alto Carly Avila. Second year Team EA All-State Choir bass Kai Colbert. Second year Team EA All-State Choir alto Shelby Dotson. Bass, Dylan Henderson. Bass, Caden Larson. Bass, Miles Montandon. And second year Team EA All-State Choir soprano Cheyenne Simon. Directors are Amanda Robison and Peyton Mosley. Next up is Kingwood High School Orchestra is violinist Peter Castillo. Kingwood Orchestra directors are Luke Sleva, Elise Cato, and Andrew Bailey. Next up is Summer Creek High School Orchestra, second year Team EA All-State Orchestra violinist Thomas Feng. Also from the Summer Creek High School Orchestra, but unable to attend due to a commitment to the golf team, is second year Team EA All-State Orchestra cellist Zachary Holton. And directors for Summer Creek are David Irish and Karen Irish. Congratulations to all of the Humble ISD All-State musicians. Thank you for your hard work and for representing Humble ISD at such a high level. Thank you to the Humble ISD Board of Trustees and Superintendent Dr. Fagan for your continued support of fine arts in Humble ISD. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Parents, please come up if you'd like.
Out of your way. Feel free to come up. And y'all keep looking that way and smiling big. No blinking, smiling only.
Well, congratulations to all of you, and thank you for being here so we could celebrate you. What you do is amazing and elite in your field, so thank you so much and congratulations. All right. We're making our little transition here. Our staff members go above and beyond for our students. Jerry Monbaron, Chief Community Engagement Officer, is here to announce this month's Super Staffers.
Thank you. Humble ISD employees go above and beyond each day to meet the needs of our students, and we want to recognize these employees for their important work in keeping Humble ISD great. Each month, campuses and departments select an individual to be honored as a super staffer for their outstanding work in advancing student achievement. A drawing is held, and 3 honorees receive additional recognition at a school board meeting, including a gift card thanks to an award sponsor. Please join me in thanking our sponsor for tonight as she makes her way up here, Amanda Wiley with Big Kahuna Fundraising. Being honored as the elementary super staffer tonight is the extended learning teacher at Willow Creek Elementary, Susan Rasmussen. She's making her way up here. Alicia Pierce, her principal, is here. Alicia, you want to come up or wave from the back? However you'd like to do it. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Susan. She's got a lot of fans in the room. So Susan joined Willow Creek Elementary this year as the extended learning teacher with 20 years experience covering elementary, middle, and high school. As a leader on our campus, she has been a bright light of energy, inspiring others to challenge all students on campus. Her passion for working with special populations shows in everything she does. She is an inspiration to colleagues and students, and we are so fortunate that she is part of the Willow Creek family. Congratulations, Susan.
Congratulations, Razzle Dazzle.
Being honored tonight as a secondary super staffer is the Avid 2 teacher at Sconzo Early College High School, Mishka Douglas. Nichelle Williams, her principal's in the back. There she is. Thank you, Nichelle, for being here. At Sconzo Early College High School, we all wear many different hats and take on responsibilities beyond the classroom. In addition to caring for her students and wanting to see them succeed, Mishka also supports her colleagues and is always willing to share her experiences and expertise to help others succeed. Her support spans from assisting with family activities each month to supporting new teachers who have never tested before. Her willingness to show up on a weekend to help with TSI testing, chaperone the winter dance, and work summer bridge camp are just a few examples of her continually going beyond her responsibilities. Congratulations, Mishka. Being honored tonight as our support super staffer is Erica Young with the Financial Services Department. And then also joining us tonight is Billy Beatty, her supervisor. Okay, so Erica was nominated by Paul Yoder, and this is why it was confusing. I didn't know whether to call it Paul or Billy, so come on up, Billy. So Paul is actually the Humble ISD's Director of Technology Services, but he worked with Erica with some safety committees. So here's what he said about Erica. In addition to her role in the tax management office, the tax office, Erica took the lead on many safety initiatives at the BBTC. She is a member of the BBTC Safety Committee and has done an excellent job in executing the plans put in place to keep staff and visitors safe. Erica ensured repairs to the fire alarm and intercom systems were complete, recruited a dedicated group of safety volunteers, and organized CPR and AED training for the group. Paul stated that he's very impressed with what she has accomplished in such a short period of time. Erica is a team player and always looking for ways to help out coworkers. She is a valuable member of the finance team and much appreciated by all BBTC staff. Congratulations, Erica.
And that concludes our accommodations and recognitions for this month.
Okay, moving on. Our next item is item F, questions and comments by patrons or employees of the district regarding agenda items or any other matters. The board encourages comments from citizens of the district or from district employees. Anyone wishing to speak, either as an individual or as a representative of a group, may do so following the procedure outlined on the agenda. The board asks that comments pertain to public education issues and be no longer than, this evening, 2 minutes, given the number we have. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda for tonight's meeting. If an issue mentioned is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion until the appropriate time during the meeting. Okay, and we will start with, and I'm going to ask, well, we don't have much room there. 3 of you to come up, and in the second row, I think we got a couple of seats. Yeah, so I'm going to ask Sharon Holloway, Jeanette Garza, and Walter Kirk to make their way up to the podium, and Ms. Holloway will speak first. So, Ms. Holloway's not here? Oh, Karen, okay, I didn't, yeah, it's okay. Okay, then I'm sorry. Ms. Garza, go ahead.
Yes, good evening. I'm sorry, this is my first time, so I'm not sure, but I'm here because I received an email on the bus transportation being canceled for Centennial Elementary. So I'm trying to plan on, the options, and I'm across Westlake, Houston. I'm on the gated side, so I was just wondering if there was going to be any crossing guards or if walking was even an option, because the email addressed bridges and sidewalks, but didn't address anything about crossing Westlake, Houston. So I'm not.
I'm sorry, we really can't discuss, but I will ask Dr. Fagan during her comments. She could comment about what you raised.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Was that the only?
Yes,
okay.
sir, that's it.
Fine.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Next, Mr. Kirk. Mr. Kirk's not here? Okay. All right, then next I will ask to come up Larissa Powell, Deanie Allen, and Scott Ford.
Good evening. On February 28th, I participated in a Level 3 grievance hearing. My grievance was directed at a trustee. Despite being the subject of the grievance, the trustee was allowed to attend the hearing. Shockingly, he did not recuse himself, and worse, he actively participated in the voting process, thus voting for himself. Before the hearing, to seek clarity, I asked Assistant General Counsel Megan Morrow. She explained that the board president, Mr. Scarfo, had indeed given all the trustees a chance to recuse themselves, but this trustee did not do so. Then there were the audible sighs from Mr. Scarfo during the proceedings, further signaled a lack of genuine interest in addressing my complaint. Later, during open session, Mr. Scarfo tried to restrict speaker's speech. Luckily, General Counsel overturned him, and we were able to express our concerns. Recently, another complaint was filed, highlighting the serious breach of protocol. The external legal counsel assigned to handle this complaint failed to adhere to the own district's guidelines. As someone who has personally faced retaliation, threats, and bullying by this district, I'm deeply troubled by this conduct and the illegal, unethical behaviors of this board. And let's not forget the struggle with open records. Transparency should be the bedrock principle, yet accessing information feels like navigating a labyrinth. Teachers are hesitant to sign contracts. They're scared. Meanwhile, we've poured $500,000 into legal fees, but teachers can't even get Kleenex. Did you know that there was a 9-year-old that was sexually assaulted at a Kingwood school? sexually assaulted by another student on school premises, and the principal covered it up. But we're doing other things. The injustice doesn't end there. The victim, still grappling with the trauma, faces the additional burden. She is forced to share a classroom with her attacker, had to apologize to her attacker. Imagine the fear of a 9-year-old, the emotional toll that this places on a young child. That child's mother wanted me to ask this. We can't continue to turn a blind eye.
Thank you. Next, Jeannie Allen.
I am Deanie Allen, reading specialist and dyslexia specialist. I am upset with Mr. Grabowski's comments last meeting and his graphs on the STAR scores. These graphs focused on a brief period of time. Small shifts in scores were exaggerated. This exaggeration is misleading. It is disrespectful to our hardworking teachers and administrators. Let's step back. Let's get the big picture. I have tutored or given the state test since 1986. Every time the name changed, the test got harder and harder and harder. And TEA has just announced it's getting harder this year. Third graders have to type a short paragraph to answer. I have coached students and teachers kindergarten to 8, and I assure you, Mr. Grabowski, every teacher and every administrator from top to bottom works very hard on STAR performance. Our district has changed. We have more students of poverty, more students who speak another language at home, more special ed students, and yes, almost every special ed student takes the same test. More dyslexia students, and yes, if you can't read, you have to take the dyslexia test, the state test too. And when parents choose not to test, that counts as failing because their child didn't take the test. Yes, we do have certain groups and certain schools that are struggling. Let's have an honest conversation about how to help them. Let's talk about adopting a new reading program if ours isn't working. Let's find a successful reading intervention for middle schoolers and high schoolers who can't read. We elect school board members not to point out problems, but to help find solutions.
Thank you. Next, I'll ask if they are here. I'm sorry, Mr. Ford, you're next. Sorry. Pardon.
All right, no worries. Scott Ford, teacher. I know I'm usually the ray of sunshine. However, I did want to talk about some issues here. We got about 6 weeks left of school and then a finals week. And I've been trying to get our students vouchers to take their certification exams. For those of you who aren't aware of this, IT professionals can get vouchers to take certification exams. It's the certification exams that count towards those jobs, those promotions, those monies. So it's kind of a fundamental issue for a successful IT certification program. And not only that, but the one that I'm working on is also considered or recognized as an industry-based certification, IBC, and is part of the College Career and Military Preparedness Program. I want to preface what I'm about to say with the fact that when I left this district in 2008, I left us with the best certification program in Texas, which is why I wound up getting recruited for the FBI to develop their cyber training. There's a connection there. We have since lost our ability to test on campus. We have also apparently lost our ability to get these kids vouchers because this process started November 29th, 23, when I was told students would have to go to the Collaboration Center to buy a voucher between the hours of 8 and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Anybody see a problem with that one? Okay. December 4th, I was told don't send any parents. They got to figure out the problem. December 5th, I was told they can pick up their vouchers only between 1:30 and 3:30. December 8th, hey, can we come up with a solution? We're going to get a lot more kids certified. December 8th, oh, you need to have a conversation with us first. I did. February 19th, I was told by somebody within CTE that they're going to talk through some options for next year. I'm not willing to sacrifice my kids. And today, we finally bought the vouchers after I was told I have to break up who attended my February breaks training, my spring break training by students, adults, et cetera, et cetera. And the district bought those vouchers 3 minutes before I pushed the button to buy them for myself and my kids. This is unacceptable.
Thank you, Mr. Ford.
Apologies stated.
Now I'll ask Mr. Willing, Mr. Silva, and Mr. Stoicis if they would come up, if they are here. Mr. Willing, you go ahead.
Since we aren't permitted to filibuster for 3+ hours, I will try to be concise. Superintendent Fagan, there is no public trust in your ability to lead this district. What prevents a call for your resignation is the fear that this board will pick your replacement and the cost that the district will incur because of it. President Scarfo, 7 confirmed Title IX complaint investigations and approximately $500,000 has been spent on non-Title IX investigations. The board has been disregarding proper procedure and denying transparency. These have created a serious financial problem, not only due to the past and current legal costs, but future legal expenses as well. What may be a manageable situation now will force hard decisions financially by future boards. This is undeniable as much as it is unacceptable. Also undeniable is the unnecessary delay in processing open records requests, a blatant violation of the law, and charging excessive fees for those requests. What should be the focus of are things like the treatment of kids protecting themselves from bullies and predators. Sadly, it is not uncommon for the district to punish the victim. President Scarfo, in your campaign, you promised to listen and talk to your parents and students and staff in order for the board to be more informed and decisive, and that your business acumen would benefit the district. You said you were uniquely qualified, but we didn't realize that meant qualified to align with extremists at the expense of our community. To the trustees, will any of you pledge to make immediate changes to address actual and valid concerns brought to you by the community? If you are not able to simply do that, your resignations are accepted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Willing. Next, Oscar Silva.
All right. Good evening, trustees. My name is Oscar Silva. I think most of you know me as the guy from Facebook, right? I signed up to speak tonight, very first time, because I just want to ask for a little bit of transparency, like a lot of people have. But before I even get to that, gotta say, district absolutely stacked with amazing educators and staffers. Just in the little bitty Facebook group that I run, we've seen things like Summer Creek High School being academic district champs, right? Wood Creek Middle School sweeping academic meets. And there was a student in ISD that went missing, and there was a picture when he was found, and couldn't help but notice in that picture 2 special ed teachers during the weekend making sure he was okay. Any of those stories, great enough to be my focus, but unfortunately that's not where we're at. We've, as several people have mentioned, been going through some investigations for a while, a year now. Mr. Sitton is the one that told us that the costs have been somewhere around $500,000. And so we're simply asking, at some point as our elected leaders, we've got to get to a point where you say, how many dollars can taxpayers pay before there's a little bit of transparency on who's responsible for all these costs and the delays therein. And so that is all I'm here to say is I'm asking the board. I noticed in the agenda in section 4 that there's a spot where you could vote to make as much as is possible, and I understand personnel matters, it can be difficult, but as much as is possible to be as transparent as possible, because I think at this point the constituents, the taxpayers deserve that. Thank you very much for your consideration. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Okay, then we have remaining to speak Stacy Smith, Holly Matherly, and Dr. Martinez. They are here and they want to come up.
Good evening. I'm a parent that has been watching the board closely for many years. There have been board decisions that I have agreed with and board decisions that I have not, but I've always held every member of the board to the same standards of ethics and principles. 2 years ago, I was at this same microphone advocating on behalf of Mr. Scarfo because the board was not following their own board policy. Upon his reelection, he committed to represent all parents, teachers, students, and community members, and said he would rise above factions or partisanship on the school board. Our community was promised better, and we have been disappointed by the allowance and alignment of outside influence in our district, and we are now fighting off the consequences. Some people may think that those financial costs that the district is racking up are legal fees due to district administration. I'm here to let you know that the district is not paying for those legal fees, but the board may be allowing us to scapegoat them for the consequences of their actions. The district legal fees are so exorbitant right now because of direct actions of the board president and those he has voted with. During the winter break, a meeting was called to remove our general counsel, Mr. Newman, who was trying to advise the board. This is one of our biggest mistakes. We're now using external counsel at board meetings for open records requests and for grievances, and obviously those are billed hourly. So external counsel is also being used to defend board members in civil complaints and at Title IX investigations. At what cost? The majority four on the board are now backtracking to vote on past decisions to be in compliance while not acknowledging the illegality of their prior actions, some of which have caused legal action against the board. We do not need to expose our school district to more legal recourse. It doesn't matter if I voted for you or if I disagree with you. I live by my principles over partisanship, and I expect the same for each of you. When you make a mistake, you fix it, and that's what I'm doing now. Now fix yours.
Thank you. Ms. Matherly, you're next.
Good evening. I'm Holly Matherly. My son Titan is a fourth grader at Green Tree. When the agenda for this meeting is published each month, my friends share it, and we joke about getting the popcorn ready so that we can watch the live stream. As entertaining as these meetings can be, I would really like the board to get down to the boring stuff, like the business of running a school district. For instance, the board voted to do away with the reading program. Not exciting stuff, but we haven't replaced that program yet. Since my son's a dyslexia student, I'd really like to know what it's going to be. For quite some time, we've had a lot of drama. I'm surprised that I know as much as I do about the superintendent's personal life. As a parent, all I really need to know is that she is following board procedures, that she is happy, and that she's able to fulfill her role as leading this district. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of time is being spent on her husband's business. Likewise, when it comes to vendors, I don't want to know the details, as long as the board is choosing ethical and legal, making ethical and legal choices about who we do business with. We don't need knee-jerk reactions when someone who is not a parent in our district shows up waving plastic genitalia. The fact that Dr. Mooney had to come before you with her attorney was embarrassing and an unnecessary waste of time. Each of you needs to remember what the district is here to do: develop each child, cultivate a sense of belonging, inspire creativity and problem solving. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mather. Dr. Martinez.
Hi, good evening. I just want to show these two briefly. One deals with the Texas School District loses $300 million in federal special education funding that happened in January of this year. And then for the school year 2023-2024, the Texas law was authored in the sense to where now dyslexia is actually seen as a part of IDA, which I believe is a very good thing, but you have to have the money in order to do those things. And so what I would like to say is that Humble ISD Board of Trustees and Superintendent may be rained upon like Houston ISD if TEA Commissioner Mike Moritz see the incompetence that this board has displayed this past year. Our superintendent's contract was granted an extension and voted upon unanimously this past year by the board. I have noticed this past year that at least 3 members of this current board thinks it's fair game to undo unanimous decisions from the past, such as the student clinic to serve our students, which it was needed, and the contract of Dr. Mooney, only to realize that neither decision should have ever been revisited. Are you here to serve the students and the parents of this district, or to serve your own ambitions? Based on the current drama in this district, not only personally, but financially crippling to the future financial health of our district. So basically what I'm saying, your personal lives is your personal business. However you excused it, it should have been excused, but not brought forth towards our students and our teachers and our parents. If we fire Dr. Fagan, will it likely result in another $500,000 being drained from our students and staff? She is reviewed annually, and the board continued to back her and support her as the superintendent. Terminating her contract now is a bad timing, and cost for termination without cause may be a costly decision.
Thank you. Okay, next on our agenda is item G, comments from board members. Mr. Holmes?
So, real quick, want to say I'm very proud of our fine arts team and what you were displaying on tonight. To the parents of our incoming kindergartners, what's going on with this board is unacceptable. I ran on the platform, keep it about the kids, students, the teachers, the community. And we have ventured so far from it every single board meeting, and it's unacceptable. And to our speakers that come month over month, again, the golden thread within all that is that we are not aligned. I don't really care what goes on in closed session, and we can be at each other's throats, and we are sometimes. But out here, we vote because all that matters is the students, the teachers, the community. I am so ready for our board meetings to be boring. I really look forward to like 10 people or 5 people here. The administration being able to go home early. We're gonna get there. But I will tell you, I do appreciate you speaking up. It is absolutely, again, unacceptable. And we've got to get back to the business of actually just making it about the students, the teachers, and our community. That's all that matters. So beyond that, I do want to thank, congratulate Mrs. Susan, Miss Douglas, Miss Erica. Again, thank you for being amazing. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Dixon?
Yes, I want to echo some of the sentiments of my colleague, Mr. Holmes. I think it's important for the board to focus on the issues in the district. And one thing in particular that I'm very upset about this evening is we have an agenda item. It said, motion to consider and take possible action regarding employment and duties of the superintendent. When I saw that on the agenda on Saturday, it literally just took my breath away. Number one, we have never, ever, ever discussed anything regarding the superintendent's employment, ever. So I find it despicable and completely unacceptable that that was an agenda item. What's also very upsetting to me is that we usually have time to review the agenda as a board to ask questions before it goes out to the public. We received the agenda about 5 minutes before it was posted so that we could not ask any questions. We talk about transparency. We talk about doing the right thing. This is truly unacceptable. In my opinion, we have the best superintendent by far. You can heckle a couple of you in the audience, but what you need to remember is Harvey Do you remember Harvey? Do you remember being flooded? I know I remember the 42 inches of water in my house. And I do remember going to DC at a request from the superintendent to ask for FEMA funds to be expedited in order for us to get Kingwood High School back on its feet before the end of the school year. Did you think about COVID when we were told that we could not have graduation, but yet our superintendent led the charge for us to have graduation anyway? We opened our schools when we were told that we could not after COVID, and we feel that we made the best decision. Also, from a superintendent perspective, a superintendent has to know a lot of areas, a whole lot. She is brilliant in finance. She is brilliant in construction. She led the charge of us having our own insurance plan, which is saving our employees thousands of dollars. She has the best team in place. And I, for one, would like to say I am furious this evening at the idea that her team has been disparaged and attacked by different people, and that she would have an agenda item on this agenda tonight that is unwarranted. We are better than this, and for one, I cannot stomach it. I hope that our board can get our act together so that we can move forward and focus on what's best for the students in this district. And I'm asking for leadership to head in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grabowski.
Well, good evening, everyone. Again, I'd like to say congratulations to all our fine arts students and all their accomplishments that were recognized tonight. And I get into a couple of athletic accomplishments that have happened here recently in our district. On Saturday, there was Sunday, there was Team Tri Teachers. 3 teachers from Bear Branch Elementary School. Emily Derringer did the swim, Andrea Maple did the bike ride, and Kelly Gilbert did the run. And the swimming distance was 1.2 miles, the bike was 56 miles, and the run is 13.1 miles. So congratulations to Team Tri Teachers there from Bear Branch. And somehow Mr. Maple, Clayton Maple, who is the athletic director at K-Park, did all 3 of those events by himself. And he's going to do the full Ironman in 3 weeks over in the Woodlands, which is an amazing accomplishment. 2.4-mile swim, 112-mile bike ride, followed by a full marathon. So crazy what you guys accomplished in a great way. One more to point out, I think this was really cool too, at the Victor Lopez Classic on March 23rd at Atascocita High School, 4x100 meter relay. And I called my former son-in-law who ran the 4x100 at A&M the year they won the national championship, Toyo Jones. Very interesting Google, greatest athlete I've ever known. Tori Blaylock, Landon Fontenot, Jordan Parker, Jelani Watkins. They broke a 26-year-old record that was 39.99 seconds, and they did it in 38.92. My former son-in-law and I watched it. He watched it online on the phone. He goes, man, those kids were flying. That's coming from somebody who did it at the college level as a national champion. So congrats to the 4 of you. You should be very proud of yourselves, and to the coach that trained them, and to all the efforts that went in at that high school. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Sitton.
Yeah, I'm not going to repeat everything that's been said by some of my colleagues, but one thing I will say, and I said it the night that we hired Dr. Fagan, I was president of the board. And I looked at the audience, and I took a lot of heat for what I said. She is the most brilliant educator I've ever met. And I still stand by that today. When we started that superintendent search, I sought counsel with other superintendents that I knew. And I said, what would you look for in a board? And they said, you know what? No one really ever asked the superintendent that. But he said, that's refreshing. I want a board that's going to be supportive. I want a board that is going to listen to the community I want a board that's going to listen to the teachers. I want a board that is going to bring that information back to me and work collaboratively with me as a superintendent to make it the best school district possible. We have no communication at this point as a team of 8. We've always prided ourselves as a team of 8. We were voted one of the best school districts in the state because of our team of 8. We don't have a team of 8 anymore. It's dysfunctional at best, splintered at the least. But one thing I will tell you about my decision as president of this board leading that superintendent search back in 2016 is I wouldn't change a thing. I would have made the same recommendation today that I made then. I see where we've come. I've seen the immediate decisions that had to be made, that it took knowledge, character, and courage to make those decisions, and Dr. Fagan has been there every single time. When it was, we have to combine 2 schools, 2 high schools, large high schools. We have to combine those together and make it work. She charged her team to put together a plan in 2 weeks. Then she went to work with Billy Beatty and the finance team. While we're doing that, we've got to get Kingwood High School back up and running. We had kids back in Kingwood High School by March. My, how people forget the leadership. I could go on and on and on about stories that have been said, but come on, folks. You're using her, not you, some are using her as a scapegoat for misgivings of others. She's beyond that. She's well above that. She deserves that respect. She's earned that respect. And she has led this community through disaster after disaster. And she's taken those arrows, arrow after arrow, and she's still here. So for one, publicly, Dr. Fagan, I want to thank you for your leadership and your guidance over the past several years, because every year it's been one thing after another. And you've been there to guide us through that, and I appreciate that. And with the disarray we've had in athletics this year, we still had one team go to the state finals in basketball. We still had 3 teams go to the regional tournament in soccer. As Mr. Grabowski mentioned, we have a relay team that in the 4x100 set a national record, and it goes further than that. I saw a clip that if they were a collegiate team, they would be number 2 behind Auburn in the fastest 4x100 in the nation of all colleges. This community thrives on being superior, thrives on excelling in excellence. And the center of this community is Humble ISD. So let's get back to being excellent.
Thank you. Mr. Kirchhofer.
Well, it's Masters Week for all the golfers, so I figured I'd change the subject. Listen, I'll just speak for myself. I'm thankful that I'm in this chair at this time, at this point, and this seat will see it through. And I've been here, 29 years, and I won't give you a history lesson and won't talk about anybody else up on the board. But my family is rooted here, love this district, love the people sitting in front of me. I love people that come to me that we have different opinions. I don't want people around me that tell me how great I am. I don't. I want people that challenge me, and whatever side of the aisle you're on. And the people that have been coming to me, keep doing it. Keep walking in unannounced in my office. Keep interrupting my day, and I'm fine with it. I really am. And yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunity to see this through. And you know, nothing worth growing doesn't have pain, doesn't have mistakes. But if you work together and you're transparent and you're accountable and you start with yourself, like me, I'll start with myself. That's all I can do. And lead, and leaders lead. So what I really wanted to say tonight was congratulations to the super staffers. Put the focus on them. That's a big deal. Some people get awards all the time just because of the position they're in or whatever they coach, but most people don't. Most people don't get the light shined on them. They don't. So I do echo some of the other trustees. And the All-State, the orchestra, the bands, the choir, the kids up here, it's a big deal. They work their tails off for it, their parents. And it's what's important. I'm committed to see it through from this chair and be responsible for myself. And everybody have a great week.
Thank you. Mrs. Parker.
Okay. I have a feeling of hope. I genuinely like all 7 of my fellow trustees, and I feel like we are in a season of splinters, but I feel like we can coalesce, come back, work together. We don't ever have to agree on one thing ever, but we can do it with dignity and decorum. And I want to, if you're a speaker here today, I want you to know how much I appreciate you. Whether I agree with what you have to say or I disagree with what you have to say, you have your First Amendment right to say it. And I just want to thank you so much for caring about kids, for being here. And moving forward, it's going to be better. It is. Is Ty Hobbs here? Oh, she's not. Oh, darn. I wanted to thank her so much. Guys, will you hold up your shirts if you have them? So I have on my vape awareness shirt today. And Ty Hobbs and her team had a community awareness anti-vape night at Atascocita High School on March 26th. And it was just wonderful. And it's such an important topic for parents to be aware of. Anyway, thank you so much and have a great night.
Thank you. Yeah, that really was a great event. I mean, and it's unfortunate, though, there wasn't a giant turnout. And as you talk to some of the students, they will tell you that it's a serious matter in our high schools and middle schools. So hopefully, not just here, but across this land of ours. And no easy solution there. Also want to just give a shout out. I thought it would have been done already by now, but our Public Communications Office recently earned 30 awards at the 62nd Annual Texas School Public Relations Association Conference. That's a mouthful. But anyway, congratulations, Ms. Mount and all of you guys. I mean, they actually also won Best of State award for the new district website, newly designed district website that launched at the beginning of the school year, and plus 29 others. So that's really great. So yeah, give them a hand. That's awesome. And then we announced the finalists of the Teacher of the Year finalists. So good luck to each of, there's 10 total, right? Or Dr. Fagan, 10? 10, yeah. There's 10 total. So good luck in each of the 2 divisions. because it's really great. But it'll be exciting that evening when you come and are waiting to find out who it is, but you'll know then. Well, and I'll just close with this. Yeah, I appreciate the speakers who talked about transparency, and we have an opportunity to address that this evening. So we'll see if that's the will of the board to be transparent to the community. I hope it is. I think it's necessary. Look, I don't mind taking the shots. It's okay. I'm sitting here. Next school year, Mrs. Parker could take most of those arrows. I'm sure will come our way. That's just goes with the territory. So it's fine, and appreciate the comments. And like I said, hopefully we will be able to move forward some transparency, hopefully as recently or as soon as this evening. And with that, Dr. Fagan, comments from the administration?
Mr. Scarfo, one quick thing.
Did he spoke.
No, I did. I just wanted to recognize our former state rep, Dan Huberty, is in the audience this evening, and wanted to thank him for being here.
All right, Ms. Holloway, Dr. Brown is going to contact you and Christy Erb about working on the transportation issue. So, Garza, sorry. Thank you, I appreciate it. I wrote down the wrong name, but anyway, we will definitely get with you on the transportation issue to work through your concerns. And we always want to make sure that there's a safe path to school. And our transportation department works with our assistant superintendents for elementary to make sure that that's the case. So we will absolutely work that out. Thank you. So it's, I can't believe it, it's April. I can't believe we're looking at kindergarten roundup and a budget process that Billy has well underway where we're, forcing Jason to make all the operations reductions. So if you're not as cold in here tonight, then you know that we're doing a good job with our new set points to save a few dollars on heating and air conditioning. Because what we're trying to do is make sure we're directing all the dollars that are available in a time when the legislature gave us no new dollars. We want to make sure that we have as many dollars available for our staff and students as possible. So that's a good time for us to make sure that our trash and our grass cutting and our water and electricity are as economically feasible as possible. So we're working on all of those projects right now. It's been a fantastic year so far, and I'm looking forward to a good ending. I was at an HCA board meeting as a board I serve on, and one of the doctors there said, "Oh, yes, it's April, the only month where we don't have a day off." And she said, "I'm so glad, But at the same time, she also appreciates the time to spend with her family in February and October when everyone else isn't traveling. So it was a mixed conversation. But April is a busy month, and then we move into May and graduation. We're excited for that, and we're already starting the preparations for celebrating our top 10 students at every campus, as well as getting ready for that large graduation ceremony that we used to be able to fit in one day, right, Mr. Cramey? No longer. But with that, I think that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Fagan. And next, we will move to action items from closed session. Item 4A, personnel recommendations.
Mr. Scarfo, prior to that, I have a point of information request. I have a point of information request for you.
Okay.
Can you explain to the board and the public why our agenda was delayed and the board received it roughly 5 minutes before the public, so we were not able to review, ask questions as stated at the beginning of the meeting?
Yeah, sure, Mr. Sidden. I've explained it to you once already. I'll explain it again. The outside counsel had asked to delay because they were awaiting information on an appeal, which happened very late Friday evening, and they had language they wanted to have added to the agenda, which is out there that you see under the B, C, D, and E. And I was waiting on Saturday, got that about 2 o'clock initially, and there was some back and forth. And by the time I was able to turn it around, because I had some traveling in between, it was close to 4. We were getting close to the wire, and I sent it to Mrs. Martin after having the items reviewed because I wanted to make sure I had them right. Like I said, I didn't write them, and they were coming from council. I wanted to make sure they were correct. They got back to me, and I went back to Mrs. Martin. She put them in. She had to send it back to me again to make sure everything was the way it needed to be, and that's when I said to her to let it out, and that's it.
So you said the appeal came in Friday?
No, I said.
But it's dated Saturday, and we received.
No, I
notice
said
of
I
on
got it
Sunday.
at 11 o'clock Friday night that I received the information that it was there. And then they were going to provide language the next day. Okay? That's what I said.
Okay, so the fact that we didn't receive any of that until Saturday night, and the actual appeal, I mean, we didn't receive anything until Sunday, and the actual appeal didn't go in until Saturday night. I'm still confused how you got that on Friday, and then it was still delayed. So, okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Sidney.
All right, so item 4A, personnel recommendation. I move to approve the administration's personnel recommendations as presented in closed session with addendum.
Second.
Second, any discussion? Okay, see no discussion. All those in favor? Okay, 7-0. Okay, next agenda item is item 4B.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to direct legal counsel to continue with Humble ISD's request for Attorney General decisions related to Oscar Silva's February 15th Public Information Act request, Justin Lurie's February 19th Public Information Act request, Larissa Powell's February 21st Public Information Act request, Beth Guide's March 3rd Public Information Act request, Justin Lurie's March 13th Public Information Act request, not to hide information, but to continue the process that Humble ISD has historically used throughout time, and also with so many extra Title IX processes still going on, the release of that information publicly could hinder those investigations. And at such time, when all investigations are done and the Attorney General opinion has been released, I have no problem at that point releasing this information.
Second.
Okay. Discussion. Yes.
I would like to echo what Mr. Sitton said. I think I am completely open to being transparent and sharing all documents with the public, but I do think that we should wait till all investigations are complete. And also, I think it changes precedent. We have always waited for the AG decision to come back, and I think we should follow what we typically would follow even in this instance. And once that is returned, then we're open to share information to make sure the community, parents, employees, everyone has the same information, and even with all of the investigations. So everything can be put out there and it won't hinder one of the other investigations while we're receiving that information.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Holmes?
Just to provide a little bit more clarity on top of what Mr. Sitton shared as well as Ms. Lamont Dixon, I think just want to say that all of them are somewhat intertwined, and that is why we want to just make sure that we have all of the information back before we release it. I am all for the transparency, but again, I think releasing them in a piecemeal fashion is going to give wrong context, and if you're going to see it, we just want you to have, again, all of the context available. And again, we also want to have that AG's opinion, the Attorney General's opinion. Why? I want to make sure that there's nothing that can be brought back on this district in terms of litigation, right? We've already spent in upwards of over $500,000, probably trending towards $600,000 or $700,000 at this point. We want to make sure that we're covered legally.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, yours is a dissenting view from the other three. So the taxpayers, it's your money. We've been getting hammered about it, and rightly so, by the constituents. But y'all should know why we spend $700,000-800,000. You should know right now. Why should my door be beaten down every single day? Why are we split 4-3? Why not let the facts out? Why not let it out? If I'm sitting there as a taxpayer, I want to know. Is it because Ken Kirchhofer is spending all the money? Is it because of me? Well, read it all. Make your decision. I mean, that's how I feel. If I'm outvoted, fine. But I want to be on the record, and everybody knows where I stand. Transparency and accountability. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, any other discussion? Mr. Sitton?
Mr. Kirchhoff, I agree with you 110%. I agree with everything you just said. But when you have multiple Title IX investigations that are intertwined, that are all related to the same thing, and you're going to put out some information and not all of it because it's not all available, that's where I have a problem. Because it can get construed, it can get, a new narrative can get out there because they're not going to have all the information and all the context at one time.
And if it was a skiff, we'd all be in rowboats. I'm so tired of it all, man. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it.
Okay.
And if I was in charge from the beginning, we wouldn't be here. If I was in charge from the beginning, we wouldn't be here. And I'll put my name on it.
Mrs. Parker?
I'm not attacking you, so don't attack me.
I agreed with you.
Yeah,
I agree with everything you said, but we just don't have all the information to put out there.
Okay, listen, we don't go.
There was no attack.
Conversations, right? Mr. Kirchhofer spoke. You already went twice already. Mrs. Parker?
Motion to amend the motion to Mr. Grabowski's motion.
How do you know his motion?
Hang on, I just want to ask a question before you do that. Ms. Spalding, I know there's another motion that we have that was created. Can we vote on this one first and then under this same item bring the other motion, or do we have to amend this motion that?
You can, under this agenda item, you can either take a vote on this motion, and then if there is any other motion to be made, somebody can choose to make it. If it gets a second, you can choose to discuss it,
Right.
and then you can choose to vote on it. Or if you desire, if somebody wants to make a motion to amend, a motion to amend can be made, and then you would vote on the amended motion.
Okay, so what I'm understanding is there can be two motions coming out on this same agenda item that we have right now before
That is
us.
correct.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. So, Ms. Parker, we can vote on this motion first. I know there's another motion to be brought, and I think it'll be cleaner that way.
Six
I
one way,
think,
half a dozen the other.
to not to have to go through. Okay, so hearing no other discussion, we'll bring the current motion. I'm sorry, I can't read it back to you. Not sure everything that was, but it's recorded. So all those in favor of the motion not to release documents at this point in time regarding the PIAs that have been requested at the dates enumerated in the motion.
Mr. Scarfa, I'll read it back to you if you'd like me to.
So
there's
that's
clarity.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You can do
Yeah,
that.
I move to direct legal counsel to continue Umbalasti's request for Attorney General decisions related to Oscar Silva's February 15th Public Information Act request, Justin Lurie's February 19th Public Information Act request, Larissa Powell's February 21st Public Information Act request, Beth Guide's March 3rd Public Information Act request, and Justin Lurie's March 13th Public Information Act request not to hide information, not to prevent information getting out, but use what we have historically done as a board and as a district. And once all Title IX investigations are completed, then release all information that is relevant and approved by the Attorney General.
Thank you. So we have the motion, we have discussion, and we had a second, so we now can move to vote. All those in favor of the motion on the floor, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay, motion fails. Okay, the next motion, I know Mr. Grabowski, you had your hand up, is under this item. Would you go ahead and read your motion?
Mr. President, I move to direct legal counsel to withdraw Humble ISD's request for Attorney General decisions related to Oscar Silver's February 15th Public Information Act request, Justin Lurie's February 19th Public Information Act request, Larissa Powell's February 21st Public Information Act request, Beth Guide's March 3rd Public Information Act request, and Justin Lurie's March 19th Public Information Act request, and provide the requested documentation to those requesters as well as any other requesters who may request similar documentation in the near future, with the names redacted as discussed in closed session. Furthermore, I furthermore move that the board authorize Walsh Gallegos to proceed as discussed in closed meeting regarding Title IX investigations, including retaining additional investigators on behalf of the district.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Discussion.
I just wanted to make one point that legal counsel did recommend that we wait for the AG decision.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Holmes?
Yes, on top of that, just want to make sure the community understands that the AG is going to be providing his decision, correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Spalding, May 6th. So that's less than 30 days, community, before we have hopefully all of his decision, as well as most likely all the documentation from all the Title IXs. Again, I just want you to have complete context as you pour through those documents. I believe in the transparency. I want it released to you. I just want us to wait for the AG's opinion.
Mr. Holmes, I believe what they said was that we might have an opinion back from the AG. They have at least 60 days. Normally, they drag their feet, maybe May 6th. But that has nothing to do with, they're not opining on anything else from any other Title IXs that are still active or any other investigations that are still active. It was really just this one that those TPIAs were made for. And as it was enumerated in the first motion, enumerated in the second motion, those are the ones that are at hand. And I believe it said if there were any future ones, they would also be released as people made the request. So just to clarify with that. And I'll just add to that, I understand there's always risk of anything you do, but I think the transparency factor for the community far outweighs those risks. This has dragged on a very long time, and I think it needs to be brought to the public's attention now to let them know what all their money was spent on and all the time that was spent. And and you can attack me if you want. It's okay. I've got a pretty thick skin, generally, most of the time. I'm sorry I raised my voice earlier, but sometimes you do get annoyed. But anyway, I will say that I believe the transparency factor far outweighs the risk. And that's where I will leave it. Any other discussion? Mr. Grabowski.
I feel the same. We've spent a lot of money, and that's your money. You deserve to know where it went.
Yeah, Dr. Fagan.
I just have a question for legal counsel. So it's my understanding that for Chapter 21 employees, that anything evaluative is protected and confidential. And so I'm just wondering, knowing the volume of the reports and the different people impacted in that, will that be managed differently, or will all those people's evaluative information, Chapter 21 employees, be released publicly?
My understanding is that Walsh Gallegos will be doing the redactions, and so I will defer to Ms. Kyle, but my understanding further is that all names will be redacted in the reports, and therefore evaluative information should be protected to the extent names are redacted, and you can't tell. Ms. Kyle, would you like to?
I agree with what you said, and I don't believe the report contains evaluation information.
All right, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none. Yes, sir.
I have another question for legal. So I know it's a matter of precedence as far as seeking the AG's opinion, and I'm not a school law expert of any kind, but that was my question about Chapter 21 and making these documents available prior to the AG. There is no legal precedent on that, either or?
I don't think there's legal precedent on that, if I'm understanding your question. Each time a request comes in, for each request, a school district or any governmental entity must make a decision on whether it is going to release the information or go to the Attorney General. There are exceptions under which you go to the Attorney General because you're required to go, and there are exceptions under which you go to the Attorney General because it's permissive. A permissive exception, for example, would be the litigation exception, to withhold something under the litigation exception. So each request stands on its own, but each requester must be treated similarly. Does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will then, we have the motion and second. We've completed discussion. I will now call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion to release, please signal your agreement with your raised hand. All those opposed? Okay, motion passes 4-3.
Mr. President, another
Yes,
point of information. If a requester requests information on other Title IXs that are going on, will the same consideration be given to them as well?
Well, that's a legal question. My comment would be on completed investigations, they'd be decided on a case-by-case basis. Ms. Kyle, chime in if you'd like. I mean,
I'm going to jump in, and Ms. Kyle can correct me if I disagree. Right now, the decision, the motion that's been made by the board and approved by 4 board members is that certain pending open records requests will be released with redactions. If in the future a Title IX decision comes back and the board wishes to make the same motion and same decision, the board is entitled to do so. The current motion, however, referred to only the pending TPIA requests for one specific report, the completed report.
Well, so in the motion, it says, in the motion, it says, the requested documentation to those requesters as well as any other requesters who may request similar documentation, not the same documentation, but similar documentation. And since all the Title IXs are intertwined, someone could make the argument those are similar.
I see what you're saying, and I think clarification is needed on that. The way I understood the motion was we have Report A. Report A has been completed. We're releasing it to the 5 people, or however many it was, who asked for it. If people asked for Report A, again, the decision has been made by this board to release it. If they ask for Report B, that is not the same decision. That's how I interpret the motion from a legal perspective.
thank you, Ms. Spaulding. Okay, we're going to move on to our next item is on action item 5A, gauging interest for portrait of a graduate.
Mr. President, sorry, we skipped over several action items in B and in number 4. So item 4C and 4D, I move we remove these 2 items as no further action is needed, as we have accepted and approved the retirement of Troy Kite, Executive Director of UIL and Fine Arts.
Well, Mr. Sutton, that was the same effect by me moving past them. We don't have to address them.
I don't think it's the same effect. I think that one is not
that's
taking
fine.
action at all, and one is
Okay.
having a motion and a response.
That's
and
fine.
So
But that was my intent, was that we weren't going to take action, so we okay. So go ahead and, yeah, yes, sir.
I'd like to make,
Mike. You need to, Mike.
I believe there's a pending motion on the table.
No, there isn't. Okay, so we'll move then to
There's a motion.
Item C, okay?
So
believe there's-
I made a motion regarding item 4C and 4D because they concern the same thing.
Right.
Second.
And there's a second.
Okay, that's fine. Any discussion on, sorry, would you read that again?
Yeah, I move we remove these two items as no further action is needed, as we have accepted and approved the retirement of Troy Kite, Executive Director of the UIL and Fine Arts.
Okay, and we have a second. Any discussion? Okay, we still have a quorum. I know Mr. Kirchhoffer has left the room. All those in favor? Okay, it's 6-0 and 1. I'll count it as an abstention.
All right, and then, Mr. President, item 4E, I move we remove this item as no further action is needed at this time.
Okay, I'll second that. And all those in favor? 6-0 and 1 abstention.
Mr. Scarfo, I did have, I'd like to make another motion in relation to items 4, you could say 4B, C, and D. I'd like to make a motion to bring Mr. Thomas Newman back, as he is currently on leave, being that, again, Title 4B, C, and D have essentially been resolved with Mr. Kite's retirement. I'd like to go ahead and bring Mr. Newman back. Again, as we've heard from our public, we've heard from the community, they are tired of the excess expense in having outside legal counsel.
Except I don't believe that motion would be permissible given the agenda.
Well, but his being put on leave is tangential. It is also intertwined
Okay.
with 4B, C, and D.
Yeah.
And the other Title IXs,
And
right?
other right, and they're not all completed. But I'm going to defer to, I don't believe, according to, we try to follow Robert's Rules of Order, that that motion would be permissible. But Ms. Spalding, if I'm wrong, please correct me.
So, Mr. Holmes, I do believe that we have to comply very strictly with the Texas Open Meetings Act, and that when you are talking about certain level of employees, you have to identify them specifically on your agenda if you wish to discuss them or take action regarding them. And so therefore, I do not believe that that motion is contemplated by tonight's agenda. However, of course, you have an opportunity at the end of the meeting, as you know well, to ask for it to be included on the next agenda.
Thank you.
As a point of order, though, can I or can I not move to amend the agenda to add this item, especially as it relates to Title IX?
Sure. The agenda is posted 72 hours in advance, and once it is posted, it is closed. It cannot, or once 72 hours comes, it is closed. You can post it in advance and change it up to 72 hours, but so you can't alter the agenda from the board table.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on to action item 5A, gauging interest for a portrait of a graduate. Mr. Sitton, there is a motion for this item. If you would please read it.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to authorize the administration to conduct a survey of constituents as outlined in attached option 1 regarding interest in continuing, amending, or disbanding portrait of a graduate. The survey will be conducted late April to early May 2024, with the result presented at the July 2024 regular board meeting.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second? Okay, now discussion.
So this is strictly to send the indication of interest on what the community, if they want to revisit it or not. Is that correct?
Yeah, using the methodology of option 1, which was the no-cost option, and it had
Okay.
the questions.
I just wanted clarification.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, any other discussion on the item? Okay, all those in favor with proceeding? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 opposed? 1 opposed? 5-4, 1 opposed, and 1 abstention.
Can we say abstention? I think you just have to leave him out. I don't think it's an
Just
abstention.
leave me- Okay, what?
Based on Robert's rules.
Okay, not present, that's fine. Okay. NP. Okay, now we will move to the consent agenda. And Mr. Sitton, please follow along with me. I'll need your help. Okay, item A, Approval of minutes for the regular board meeting held on Tuesday, March 19, 2024. And please, again, just because I'm not always going to be looking up, holler if you want to pull something so I can hear it. I'm just going to assume if I don't hear anything, it's not being pulled. B, approval of goods, professional services, and non-construction services exceeding $50,000 in the aggregate or $25,000 individually. C, 2023-24 construction and construction-related purchases. D, bond transfers and amendments. E, budgetary transfers and amendments. F, tax refunds. G, board authorization of interlocal agreements. H, approval of RFP number 2021-003R, supplies, equipment, and services for students with disabilities. I, approval of RFP number 2023-102, services, repairs, maintenance, installation district-wide. J, approval of RFP number 2024-102-18, software subscriptions and web-based applications. K, consideration of construction services for the Foster Elementary School replacement project. L, deductive change orders. M, instructional materials allotment and TEAC certification 2024-25. And last, N, amendment of board policy FDA local final action. That's the...
Pull.
Okay, almost made it. Okay, Mr. Sitton, we need a motion on the consent items and then a second. If you'll
Yes,
go ahead
Mr.
and-
President, I move to approve consent agenda items 6A through 6M, with 6N being pulled.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, the motion and second. There's no discussion as their consent. All those in favor? 7-0. Okay, now we will circle back to item N, the amendment of board policy FDA local final action. And so I will need a motion on that one item. Mr. Zinn?
Mr. President, I move to adopt and approve the revisions to board policy FDA.
Second.
Okay, now we have the motion and the second, and discussion. Mrs. Parker, you had pulled it?
We had discussed this idea in the Finance Committee, and I just recently got back from Alabama. I was visiting my family, and their school district, they do this, and they find the students that participate in the limited open enrollment tend to be the best and the brightest because it's parents who truly care, and they charge money, and it really works out well for them. It's the parents that actually will transport their kids to the different school district, and it actually it works extraordinarily well for them. So I just wanted to add that feedback.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that additional info.
Mrs. Scarfo?
Yes, Mr. Grabowski.
Yeah, on the open enrollment also, you know, the guidelines came and so did the policies, and thank you for the red line, and thank you for the clean version. Well noted. A lot of feedback coming. Instead of chasing average daily attendance, which this might do, and get great students, as Mrs. Parker said, can some consideration be given to lowering the cap or capacities of the classrooms so that we don't have a kindergarten with 22 and then suddenly they have 23 or 24? I can't imagine 24 kindergartners. We just talked about kindergarten roundup. If we could lower that cap size to 20 or something like that before we consider open enrollment. That's what I wanted to put out there.
Sorry.
Would you respond to that about the class size, about the
So-
caps, and what we already mentioned?
Exactly. So we have class size caps across the board, and we So if somebody applies for third grade, I'm just making this up, I'm not picking on them, Woodland Hills Elementary School, and there's no seats in third grade, then they wouldn't be able to do that. And so somebody said the other day, it's like when you go to the movie theater and, Fandango, and you can see how many seats are left and, in what grade or what movie or whatever. We talked about if there's an electronic view, if you qualify under all the criteria, and there's a lot of criteria, then it comes down to, are there exact seats available in the campus and the grade level that you're requesting? And if there's not, then the answer is no. Now you can apply for a different campus and a different grade level, or probably the same grade level, but different campus. And then the answer may be yes. But we will not overfill any of our classrooms with this open enrollment option. This is to fill rooms that simply have a lot of space and excess capacity, and it fills that up with excellent students and families who care, and that is a win-win for everyone.
Ms. Dixon?
I was just going to say the cap is set by the state.
Yeah, right, and that's why I asked Dr. Fagan to address, because we have those caps, and until you get to past third grade, then you can ask.
But we're still not going to way overfill for this.
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Growski, does that give you comfort to that? Okay, good. All right. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor to the motion, item N? 7-0. Okay. Now we can move to the next report. Mr. Perkins, intruder audit.
I have no report tonight.
That's the best kind we can get from you for that. That's perfect. Okay. Next is update board associations and committees. Are there any board chairs who would like to give any updates to their committees? No? Okay. Ms. Sidden, I know you were busy giving did you want any, I asked if any board chairs want to
Yeah, we sent out the minutes. I think they went
today.
out. Did they go out today?
Got them
So
today
if you have any questions, just let me know.
Okay.
Mr. Scarfo, Ms. Morrow just pointed out, we don't think you took a vote on FDA.
On what?
FDA, the one that you pulled from the consent agenda, did you? Okay,
Yes.
okay, sorry, thank you.
Oh, yeah, we voted on that already. That was the item
That was
N.
7-0.
Thank you for confirming for us. We were both a
No,
little
it's okay.
confused.
All right. So no committees reporting. Next, we'll move to financial services report. Any questions for Mr. Beatty? It's getting off easy again. Okay. And next, item under 8, under meeting closing. A, consideration of topics for future board business.
Me.
Ms. Parker? Okay.
We have a longtime trustee that is ill, that is not doing extraordinarily well, but we're praying for her and we hope that things turn out okay. But I would like to consider naming perhaps a multi-purpose room on future board business after this trustee, and maybe at Green Tree, the multi-purpose room after Nancy Pinkerton, who really was the principal there for years. So naming of a multi-purpose room or rooms.
Okay. All those who would like to have an item on a future board agenda regarding naming multi-purpose rooms after individuals, please let me know by show of your hand.
Mr. Scarfo?
Yeah.
Could that just be taken to building and planning? Can y'all, you're on that committee, can you guys just review that and make the decision and bring it to the full board? That's the normal procedure that we follow for naming.
Well, building and planning doesn't really name
Well,
buildings.
as a point of order, we can't debate this and deliberate. We
Right.
can only take a poll to see if we want to put this on a future board agenda.
Time is of the essence.
Okay, well, all right, all those who want to have this particular item about naming multi-purpose rooms, please let me see your interest by raising your hand.
Can you repeat that?
all those who would like to see a future agenda item regarding multi-purpose rooms and being named for individuals at a future board meeting, please show your agreement by raising your hand so I'll know whether or not to include it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Well, it's 4 to 3. Okay. And we will do that on a future agenda item. Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
Yes. I'd like to make a motion.
Not a
Oops.
You mean
for future board business?
An agenda item.
An agenda
Yeah.
item.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. That we look at bringing back Mr. Newman.
Okay.
From his leave of absence.
Okay. You heard Mr. Holmes' request. All those who would like to consider that on a future board agenda, please raise your hand so I can count how many want to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that will be on an agenda item. That's 4, 3, 4, 3, I think. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Seeing none, I will, at 8:44 p.m., meeting's closed. Thank you very much.